birthday, so we did a lot of 7s. So I volunteered to bring 7 memories with Dottie. And that was hard, because I could have come up with 77 or more. You know, in my lifetime, when I first met Dottie, or right before I first met Dottie, I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. But the one thing about Dottie is it doesn't matter if she just met you yesterday, or she's known you for 55, 65, 75 years. You are part of her family. You are inclusive. You're included. Everything. So I thank you, Dottie, for that, always. So, you know, she's taken us on some really amazing journeys throughout the years. We have been to, the first time, in fact, I went to a class with Dottie. She was planning a trip to Mount Shasta, and I went on that first trip, and I had barely known her, just a few weeks, and we were getting ready, and then we went to Mount Shasta. So we've been to Mount Shasta, we've been to Sedona, we've been to Kauai, we've been to Glastonbury, we've been to the Big Island of Hawaii, we have been to Scotland, the Grand Canyon. Dottie has also taken people to Greece. We've been swimming with the dolphins, you name it, we've done amazing, incredible things. That's not just, I put that all into one memory, but the specific memory from that is actually that first trip to Mount Shasta and the inclusiveness I was speaking of. Oh, God is calling. And,
you didn't think God didn't want to be part of the memory.
Yeah. When we were on Mount Shasta on Easter Sunday morning, that very first trip that I took with Dottie, she came to me with grape juice, and she said, Annie, would you please sing the Barucha for Passover? And I got the great honor of being able to do that, and I had never really embraced my Jewish background in this lifetime, so she helped open me back up to that. That's a great memory. The wonderful memory about it was not just the inclusiveness, but the fact that afterwards her beautiful mom, wow, our Eleanor, came up to me and cried and gave me a big hug and said, I'm so glad that you're here, because my favorite husband was Jewish. And I adore him more than anything in the world, and I miss him more than anything in the world. And that was just like such a great introduction. Thanksgiving at the beach. How many people have been to Thanksgiving? 18 to 20 years of that. I mean, it's like, you know, and it's interesting because when I first got into Thanksgiving at the beach, was such an exciting time for me, because Thanksgiving's always been a really stressful holiday in my life and my family. And the second year that I was going to go to Thanksgiving at the beach, my mother decided to surprise me, and she came down to San Jose to visit me and said, I'm not going to Thanksgiving with a bunch of strangers down at the beach. You're going to fix me dinner. And I went, I was not in a very good headspace with my mother at that time, and I called Dottie and I was crying, and I said, I don't know what to do, because I just really don't want to just have Thanksgiving with my mom. And she said, how about I stop at your house on the way home? And she did. And she beat my mom at boggle. And we had just a wonderful time, and my mom said afterwards that she was sorry she didn't go to the beach because Dottie was so wonderful. So that was really wonderful. Kauai, the first trip to Kauai. Dottie convinced us all that it would be absolutely magnificent for us to go naked while we were swimming in the ocean. So she happily held everybody's bathing suits the first time that we went in to the beach. And actually, one person came out of the water a little later. We were already gathering into our cars, and Dottie, I think you still had her bathing suit. Yeah. And so she was walking around, didn't know what to do, and my ex-boyfriend, bless his heart, dear Bob.
He wasn't next until then.
He wasn't next until then, no. He offered his towel to her. We started becoming ex at that point, and she said, can I have him? And I said, yeah, he's yours. But anyway, at that point, so that was like amazing. But, you know, to get it, we all kept every day, like we'd start running across the street to go to the beach, like in the middle of the night, across the street from our hotel, and we'd all be stripping everything off on the beach as we were running. Dottie just got us really into that. And later on, somebody was telling her that there's a seashell restaurant right over there, right where we were swimming, and we stupid people were swimming right where they were feeding the sharks.
Yay!
So we have been swimming with the sharks. Thank you, Dottie. Great memories, incredible. So,
And survive.
yes,
Always
and
blessed
survive.
and protected.
Yes, that's right. So as I said, there was a time period there where my mother and I were not on very good speaking terms. And every year for about, at least the first 5 years that I knew Dottie, she would call me on August 9th, which is 1 month before my birthday, to wish me a happy birthday and find out what I was doing. What are you doing for your birthday, Annie? Well, I hadn't really thought about it because I have a month to go. But at any rate, one time she called me and I was having a very rough time with my mom, and she said, you know what, I think you need a mom in your life. Would you like me to be your mom? said yes. Thank you. And I know there are other people out here that Dottie has said this to, or has taken her underneath her wings. I'm thinking of people like our dear Sherry and our dearest Darren, who's not with us right now, but lots and lots of people. How many people have been adopted by Dottie in one way or another? And everybody in this...
How about who wasn't adopted?
Who wasn't adopted by Dottie in one way or another? So thank you, Dottie, for being my mom. And even now that my mom and I are in a great relationship, you're still my mom too. And I'm so thankful and in gratitude that I have a mom here and a mom in Oregon.
You had two moms before it was special.
That's right. I did indeed. I didn't realize I was such a trendsetter. Oh my gosh. How about incredible amount of years of classes? Oh my gosh, the classes that Dottie has done. How many people have been to Dottie's classes?
Yeah.
At Moore Park, at the Alameda, when we were here, or when we were on Heading, when we were on Walsh, when we were at the mansion, when we were here. Amazing, amazing. And the journeys that she has helped me to go through, and she has helped many of us to go through. And one time I had read a book, that was a past life book about a woman that was burned as a 17th century witch, and it shut down my entire chakra system. Well, Dottie wasn't going to let me get away with having closed chakras, so after class she grabbed me, and Corky grabbed me along with her, and took me out to the parking lot. We did a nice time of scream therapy. So watch it. If you're ever having a problem and you can't figure out a way beyond it, don't be surprised if Dottie takes you outside and says, now scream, okay? Get it out. Say what you need to say. It opened me back up, and look at me today. I'm very blessed. Thank you, Dottie.
Yeah.
Parties. My last memory, well, that I wrote down anyway. Parties.
Yeah.
Oh my God, nobody throws a party like Dottie Boone.
That's right.
Nobody throws a party. I mean, every year for her birthday, for the first God knows how many years that I've known her, every year was a different theme, a different costume. We had 50s parties. We've had, I don't know.
Tacky tourists.
Tacky tourists. Oh my God, the tacky tourist party. That was hilarious. Yeah, tacky tourist was great. We would have parties that were unbelievable, and we would have amazing slumber parties, the Roaring 20s party.
And Dottie would also contribute to the Center for Living with Dying.
That's
and a
right.
lot of those parties
That's right.
were fundraisers.
And a lot of them were fundraisers,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
would either give to her church center,
Right.
or she would give to Center for Living with Dying, or someplace
The
else.
Lily Frank Center?
Everything that Dottie does a lot of times always has, shall I say, an ulterior motive, but the ulterior motive is always in giving. It's always in kindness. It's always in goodness. And, you know, nothing could beat that. And, you know, some of these parties, I mean, we telling Dottie stories, actually, because Dottie has a lot of them too. But the most amazing thing is just how we could just sit and laugh until our sides hurt and until we couldn't breathe anymore. And just laughing and crying and laughing and just having amazing, amazing times. Dottie, you've been such an incredible blessing in my life, and I'm sure many others. Happy birthday. I love you. Times 7, times 77, times 7,777, and more.
Yeah.
I want to mention one thing that happened at a party that I really never figured out why. We had a Western party and the Marlboro Man came.
Oh, yes.
And the Marlboro Man wasn't extremely tall, but I guess he looked good in a saddle, you know. And as many of you know, the first Marlboro Man died of lung cancer. But anyway, he came to our house, and somebody came in and said, "The Marlboro Man is naked in the pool." And I said, "What happened?" He said, "I don't know, but 6 lesbians talked to him and taken off his clothes."
And Rita.
And Rita. Yeah, you don't have that kind of party very often. As I was driving home, and I saw the poster, and there he was. He was on a billboard on Meridian. It was the Marlboro Man. And when you talk about parties, we never quite knew what was going to happen at one of our parties. And it was always interesting.
And I was given the task to think, what would Dottie say? Not what would Dottie do, but to remember 7 quotes. I don't know if you meet me.
Get behind him. At least hold the mic out, nothing else.
So that I get the recording. Thank you. So, it wasn't difficult to remember 7 fun things that she says, because she's, everything she says is going to be fun anyway. So one of the very famous one is, Reverend Grisby, do you have a song? And she never stopped saying, someday at the center, let it shine. One time when I went to see her for one of my readings, but my dad, this, that, whatever. Yes, Laura, but men don't change just because they die. And Reverend Janet, you can make a song out of the dictionary. Are our Sunday celebrations always this wild?
Yes.
I'm a sex machine. Fun.
One more.
Ooh. Ah. Oh.
Yes. And that's our Dottie.
Don't forget the chirp chirp during the.
You're wondering if this is how a church is.
Yeah, of course. My favorite saying of Dottie's, I know I'm really in for it, when she'll say, the weirdest thing happened. And I go, uh-oh. She says it's weird. We're really.
And I mean that in the most spiritual way.
We're being unearthly.
Corey, did you have anything else you needed done at this point? Okay.
Can I add one saying?
Please.
My all-time favorite saying from Dottie is, well, isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I was just thinking that. That's interesting.
Well, you guys all have little
Herding cats.
things to say on pieces of paper, so if you want to stand up and share a few of those.
That was, yeah.
They're all about getting old, and if you have some people didn't get any, I think, when they walked in, but
I got a few extras.
So do I. I have one that I think I had to read it twice to understand it, but if I say it correctly, you'll understand it the first time, okay? It says, there is no pleasure worth foregoing just for an extra 3 years in the geriatric ward. John Mortimer.
Yes, Patty.
Retirement is when your favorite piece of software is a pillow. This one is cool too. Old age isn't so bad when you consider the alternative. And that was Marie Chevalier.
I wondered if I don't do alcohol anymore. I get the same effect just standing up fast.
Every man desires to live long, but no man desires to be old. Jonathan Swift.
Truly.
Everybody my age is getting so old.
Wrinkles should merely indicate where smiles have been. Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Old age is like everything else. To make a success of it, you've got to start young. Theodore Roosevelt.
This is from Gertrude Stein. We are always the same age inside.
Men do not quit playing because they grow old. They grow old because they quit playing.
I have. You are only young once, but you can stay immature indefinitely.
Yeah. Yes.
Woody Allen said, you can live to be 100 if you give up all things that make you want to live to be 100. Somebody else said, and this does not apply to Dottie, time may be a great healer, but it's a lousy beautician.
Do not regret growing old. It's a privilege denied by many.
That's serious.
Henry David Thoreau. None are so old as those who have outlived enthusiasm.
Right on. That's right.
I have the same one as Woody Allen Park.
Okay, Carolyn?
We put more effort into helping folks reach old age than helping them into enjoying it. Great power talk.
See?
I'm going to say who this is first because it's so apropos. George Burns said, "People ask me what I most appreciate getting for my 87th birthday, and I tell them a paternity suit."
I said everything slows down with age, except the time it takes cake and ice cream to reach my kids.
Yes, Norma?
True terror is to wake up one morning and discover that your high school class is running the country.
The idea is to die young as late as possible.
Birthdays are good for you. Statistics show that the people who have the most live the longest.
The purpose of life is not to arrive at the grave in a well-preserved body, but to skid in sideways, totally worn out, shouting, "Holy shit, what a ride."
It is better to wear out than to rust out. Bishop Richard Cumberland.
Oh, wow. What was that one again, Dr.?
It is better to wear out than to rust out.
Oh, that's very cool.
Donna.
Don't let aging get you down. It's too hard to get back up.
I have one. Yeah.
Okay, it's from Dorothy Cantfield Fisher. Those who have deeply never grown old, they may die of old age, but they die young.
Yeah.
Yes.
Growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional.
That's right.
There you go. That sounds like a dummy.
Age is a High Price for Maturity by Tom Stoppard. And then if I'd known I was going to grow to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself.
John?
Okay, the geeks in the room will get this one. Age is like the newest version of a software. It has a bunch of great new features, but you lost all the cool features the original version had.
And I think, how about the one that you gave me on a magnet? I might be old, but I've gotten to see all the cool bands.
So I think now we'll...
Oh, one more, because this is what I started the whole thing with it. Old age isn't for sissies, and that was by Betty Davis.
I have one on my refrigerator. It's a refrigerator magnet. It says, "Spoiler alert, no one gets out alive."
Can't take your toys with you. Well, now I think we'll take the time to have our donations.
Oh.